All right, and we're live. So, welcome everyone joining another segment of Talking with the Rares. It's a working title in progress. There we go. So, welcome everyone. This is Darian Clark, one of the vocalists. He's from Maple Grove, Minnesota. And we've got a long yet short history and how we came about this project. So, how I first ran into you was, or heard of you was, I was talking to different classmates. It's a small college with McNally, but and one of them was Sydney, and asked if she knew anyone who would be interested in being a lead vocal. And she said, "Well, actually, yeah, there's this guy, Darian Clark. He's awesome. He loves the Beatles. He's obsessed, and he'd be right up your alley." And that's when we had a show coming up, so I didn't. We weren't really auditioning at the time because we were preparing for the big show. But looking into your stuff, I did take a listen once we met at the show. And I was like, dang, yeah, this will be solid. Maybe I'm getting my dates. This is how many years now? I don't know. But
4 or 5 now.
4 or 5. Jeez. Okay. The Rares project itself is 2 years now running. From when I asked you to see if you want to take part. Yeah, moving forward after the show. And again, guys, anyone who's listening, this is during the Rares when it was just performing. We released our first album, but there was lots of problems, and long story short, now it's the Rares project. So yeah, after taking a listen, you didn't have too many early 60s sounding songs, but I could tell you're highly influenced. And obviously I saw some things sharing about the Beatles you liked. So tell us kind of about your musical background, and was it vocals, was it guitar?
Yeah, I think so. Growing up, my dad listened to a wide variety of music, so that's probably how I've come to appreciate a wide range of genres. And I always cite as the first time I started getting into the Beatles was probably around, I want to say maybe 2008, 2009. My dad had a Paul McCartney compilation album called All the Best. One that came out in the 80s, I think. And I remember hearing Band on the Run, and I remember thinking I was really interested in that. And over time, I slowly started getting more into the music of Paul McCartney, and that led me to the Beatles. And then, by around 2010, I was full Beatlemania.
Yeah.
I started collecting CDs and stuff. I got big compilations of, it was like the Beatles Yesterday and Today, the Capitol Records collection.
Yeah.
Yeah, that had all the USA albums. And yeah, by that time it was only a matter of time before I decided to start learning their music. And I think a lot of the things that grabbed me about their music was the harmonies.
Oh, yeah.
And I know I was always singing, trying to figure out, what was John's part, what's his harmony, what's Paul's harmony, sometimes George's harmonies. And that really fascinated me. So that led me to probably around 2011 to finally pick up a guitar. And my dad got me a Beatles chord book. And that's how I taught myself how to play guitar.
So, sorry, in 2011, how old were you?
11.
Oh, I was going to say, I was like, you must have been like maybe 13? That was about my age.
Yeah. So, I had a guitar, I have a really funky looking guitar for my first one. It was a one that got passed down from my grandpa. It was called the Terminator by Synthsonics, and it's this like small scale Strat looking guitar with a speaker on the in the body.
Wow.
Doesn't hold tune very well, but it's great for. It worked great for me when I was like
For learning.
8 through 10, just kind of not even playing chords, just kind of smashing on it.
Yeah.
But from a very young age, I was I thought I was making songs. I was making songs while not really saying any words
No.
or playing any chords. But
Yep.
but the Beatles were a good kickoff point for me to develop what is songwriting and what is a song. So a lot of the songs that I started making were very, very Beatles-esque. Probably much more than the ones that is out there right now. I mean, for some people, if you're lucky enough to find my SoundCloud, there's a couple from before I started posting on Spotify. And even on my YouTube channel, I have stuff from back then. But back to, how I got into music.
Yep.
I noticed that in the Beatles chord book, after learning it for a couple of years, that the chords in the book weren't really what I heard being played. And so that's when I, got into YouTube and found all sorts of resources and stuff. Mind you, this is before
YouTube monetized.
YouTube started taking all the Beatles stuff away from YouTube.
Yes, that's right.
So it was just before then.
That was the worst.
Yeah, and and so I was watching a bunch of live Beatle footage, trying to see what John was playing. Because at the time I was a really big John Lennon fan. I wanted to play in a Beatles tribute band and be John Lennon in that and all that. And so I took on a little bit of that persona with the way I played guitar and sang. And
so vocally, I was gonna say it seemed like you took more on Paul's vocal influences, but I was gonna say, well, how did Lennon did Lennon have any? So the playing, right?
Yeah, the playing and very early on vocal style, I would imitate Lennon very much, especially when singing Beatles songs, because it was just kind of the tone that I really liked at the time. But over time, that kind of, as I got through everything that I could with the Beatles, like all the anthologies, all the rare stuff and all that, well, I had to figure out what's next. What's the next step from here to listen to? And then naturally it was listen to the solo stuff from each of them. And the more I listened to the solo stuff, well, obviously John only has stuff up until 1980. But then Paul McCartney, he still has a continuing catalog of stuff. So, yeah, I got more and more into the stuff that Paul McCartney was doing, and it kind of changed over time that I became more interested in Paul McCartney's catalog, and so that morphed into learning his songs and taking after that.
Okay, sweet. That kind of leads into the list that I gave you. But before that, I kind of wanted to. You mentioned about listening to your parents' albums, vinyl or CD or tape, maybe. I don't know. That was my parents had tape a lot, so.
Yeah.
But one that I had that got me into the Beatles and made me nostalgic was Sgt. Pepper's. So that was my gateway. And then I had the iPod Nano Generation 3, I want to say, for my birthday. I don't know what birthday. Early on, middle school, I think 8th grade, whatever year that is. And the CD, number 1. So I had to burn that. Sorry, younger people might not know. Or download that and then burn it on other CDs.
Sure. That was another one that was very influential for me, because my dad has one.
Nice.
From when it came out first in 2000, and I used and abused that CD. I played it so often.
It's all scratched.
That was the one. The CD's not scratched, but the case is worse for wear.
Oh yeah.
But I played that so much, and it's such a classic album that I ended up in 2014 when they remixed and remastered it. I got the deluxe version of it in a big box, and I think it comes with a TV and all that.
Oh, dang. I love all the songs in that one except Long and Winding Road. For some reason, just not my cup of tea, but yeah. Sorry, Paul. But